This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
It's a written test for flying a drone. It's like taking a written test to drive a car. You got to get behind that wheel and show the guy that you can do it.
It was grueling. I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours studying because you have to know everything there is to know.
The rules for commercial drone use just got a whole lot stricter. Tonight, we look into new regulations from the Federal Aviation Administration where you are allowed to fly. And the question remains, who will actually be enforcing the rules? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the limitations being placed on drones. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin in Sarasota with a terrible case of alleged child neglect. A couple is being charged with multiple counts of neglect after their 5 children were discovered living in deplorable conditions. Police are charging Amanda Dean and Joseph Dromhauser after a welfare check on the couple's home revealed a revolting scene of squalor. Human and animal feces scattered on the floor, broken glass, rotting food, and no running water.
These living conditions, and in this case in particular, is quite heartbreaking. These conditions that our detectives came in contact with on Monday were some of the worst they've ever seen in the history of working at our department. These 5 children were living in just absolute filth.
Dromhauser has made bail. Dean remains behind bars. Along with child neglect, they are facing drug charges. Police say the children are safe and are working to place them with family and friends. Now to Manatee County, where a substitute teacher is facing charges of molestation. Brad Bellinger is charged with 3 counts of lewd and lascivious behavior on a child under 12. Apparently, he knew his 3 victims outside the school. Authorities aren't ruling out the possibility of more victims. The school district is opening an internal investigation, but isn't saying where he worked. Sarasota police are investigating a shocking case of vandalism at a bakery. Someone caused almost $1,000 worth of damage at the Sift Bakehouse downtown. Police say it took place around 7 p.m. last night. Someone fired a BB gun, destroying a large glass window. The owner says she found out her store was vandalized after getting an email from police.
Business owners like me build your businesses from scratch, and we make up the woven fabric of downtown Sarasota to make it special. And it's really sad that someone would think that they're entitled enough to come do this to my business.
As a reward, SIFT is offering free cakes for life to anyone with information leading to an arrest and conviction of those involved. Police say they have few leads. In Venice, the city's traffic task force is discussing ways to ease congestion, including the possibility of parking meters. Tonight, the task force met at City Hall to discuss solutions that would keep residents and visitors happy. While the head of the group says meters are under consideration, the city council and residents are against the idea.
I think it's a deterrent because a person comes and has to put money in the meter and then he overstays and he gets a ticket. I don't like parking meters.
The task force says a trolley service is set to begin in January and it could help relieve traffic. Now an update on the controversial plan to re-nourish Lido Key Beach. The Army Corps of Engineers is rejecting a request by Sarasota County to study the impact of dredging sand from Big Pass. The decision follows a heated meeting last night over the project. Siesta Key residents say moving millions of cubic yards of sand from Big Pass could cause erosion on their shores. A permit for the project is pending with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. The agency has until the 27th of this month to make a decision. The doctor is in tonight on Siesta Key. Stephen Leatherman, or as he is better known, Dr. Beach, is speaking to residents about the dredging controversy. He says he has seen similar projects decimate beaches in other parts of the country and is calling on the Army Corps of Engineers to follow through on an environmental impact study.
Nature has its way of putting sand where it is, and I doubt there's a lot of excess sand unless the Corps can prove that to us, and that's what I think we have to prove.
Leatherman rated Siesta as the #1 beach in the country back in 2011. He is also advocating for a ban on smoking, a decision that would have to be made by the state. We'll have full details on his visit tonight at 11. If you have thought we have seen the last of red tide for now, you're wrong. Red tide levels are once again on the rise. According to Florida Fish and Wildlife, 4 water samples collected yesterday contain high concentrations of the harmful algae. Blind Pass Beach, Englewood Beach, and Don Perdo Island are just a few places where the red tide is being reported. Reports are also being seen in Charlotte County, where in some areas dead fish are washing up again. Red tide causes respiratory problems, especially for people with allergies. And Bob, we have some incredible photographs from our main man, Norm Schimmel, of the fog rolling in.
Yeah, the fog bank was amazing. It was simply amazing. It actually was so thick at times, it shut down the Sunshine Skyway Bridge for a short period of time today, right around the noon hour. Get a look at that. It looks like a wall of just some awesome-looking clouds moving in, and actually that's what it is, a cloud on the surface. And it was associated with that warm, moist air out ahead of a weak cold front. And Norm getting a shot of that just as it was moving through Sarasota Bay toward Lido and toward the Ringling Bridge there. Another one from a different perspective, looking out toward Longboat Key from Sarasota Bay. Kathy getting that shot as well. Pretty awesome looking shots. And that's what can happen out there. For Mariners, can be tough going. Boaters, all of a sudden it's clear to, oh, I can't see. So that's why you have to have a sound, some sort of way of making sound on your boat. It's the law. We saw that from the Van Wezel webcam, a periods of fog and then clearing and then fog and then clearing. And right now skies have, for the most part, cleared out across parts of the Suncoast. Still some fog hanging around in South Sarasota County and Charlotte County. 72, still warm, and the dew point at 67. That front I talked about, the cold front, is not moved through yet. It's still to our north, Alan. It will eventually slip on through tomorrow morning and bring in slightly cooler temperatures. Not a big drop.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come. Buzzkill. There are new rules now about where and when you could use drones. Commercial users even have to get a license. We'll have the details when we come back.
Home Sweet Home has you covered. Every week, the best home experts on the Suncoast reveal their best tips and best tricks for inspiration and transformation. Watch Home Sweet Home every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. and 11:30 p.m. on ABC7. Visit HomeSweetHomeFLA.com.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now, 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
Selling your home? Insist on a 3D showcase tour from Gulf Shores Realty. Virtual tours are flat and boring and look more like a slideshow than a tour. A 3D tour from Gulf Shores Realty is like actually walking through the home without the drive. Get instant access to your next home from any device. Multiple views give homebuyers a perspective like no other. For a limited time, mention ABC7 and Gulf Shores Realty will provide a complimentary 3D tour with your new listing.
What makes America's #1 beach even better? How about seafood and music? Don't miss the Siesta Beach Seafood and Music Festival happening Saturday and Sunday, December 3rd and 4th from 10 to 6 p.m. Savor mouth-watering Florida Gulf Coast seafood dishes by top restaurants and chefs while you enjoy great live music from some of Florida's top musical groups. So grab your family and friends at the Siesta Beach Seafood and Music Festival December 3rd and 4th. For more information, visit seafoodfestivals.com.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
It's the coolest new hobby out there and has incredible applications for everything from real estate marketing to television news. We are talking about drones, but the FAA is putting tough new restrictions on them because of all the obvious potential for trouble. Adam Cellini is here to explain. Adam?
Yeah, Alan, by the end of the holiday season, there could be more than 1 million new drones in the skies, but only a fraction of those will have to follow those FAA's new rules. Gene Payson may be one of the most qualified drone pilots on the Sun Coast. He spent the first half of the year and nearly $10,000 getting his pilot's license to avoid Federal Aviation Administration penalties while flying his drone for surveying jobs.
It was grueling. I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours studying because you have to know everything there is to know because they want you to not kill yourself, obviously.
Days after he passed, the FAA passed Part 107, their long-anticipated rules for commercial drone users. Drones used commercially must now stay below 400 feet and 55 pounds and can only be flown during the day and within the pilot's eyesight. They also can't fly within 5 miles of any airport without 90 days' notice.
I think what the FAA did was correct. They came out with a set of rules that was pretty tough and in some areas and lenient in others, but I think it was just the right blend.
Payson breezed through the simplified 60-question exam and earned an official UAS license. But for non-pilots, it can be tough. Local photographer Peter Lee will soon take his third crack at the test.
It's pretty hard because I didn't know anything about reading maps of like aerial type of maps and stuff.
But Lee will keep paying $150 per exam for the unique pictures drones can provide, and clients have come to expect.
They make certain shots really come alive or not.
So as those who wish to profit off of drones spend time and money seeking FAA approval, hobbyists like myself need only pay a $5 registration fee, and we can fly the same drone with none of the restrictions. From August to November, only 5% of the nearly 600,000 drones registered under the FAA were for commercial use. The other 95%, flown by unlicensed pilots, exempt from all the FAA's new guidelines.
The people who are a little less cautious are people who are the hobbyists, and they don't really know all the rules even though they're supposed to.
Local drone retailer Get FPV says it's a big reason they expect up to a 40% increase in their holiday sales.
Hobbyists can get into the hobby with very minimal sort of input from the government. They have to register get a number and put the number on their drones.
But commercial user Jack Elka thinks training needs to be the next step for all drone users.
It's a written test for flying a drone. It's like taking a written test to drive a car. You got to get behind that wheel and show the guy that you can do it.
On Anna Maria Island, where he does aerial photography, Elka has also taken it upon himself to offer informal flight training.
The cat's out of the bag. There's millions of these out there, and what are you going to do? You can't take them away from kids.
Drone problems have yet to hit the Sun Coast, and if they did, the Sarasota Sheriff's Office tells us they would just leave it to the FAA to enforce. But the FAA admits almost every aspect of an unauthorized UAS flight investigation will likely fall onto local law enforcement. So who's regulating this? Payson believes lawyers will ultimately become the enforcers.
Everybody is super safety conscious in the United States because it's a very litigious society. So if anything goes wrong, they know they're going to get sued. They could get their license pulled. They could lose their job.
Now, licensed pilots can request exemptions from certain rules, and through November, the FAA has received nearly 3,000 of those requests. Alan?
All right, Adam, thank you. When we return, we'll speak with drone pilots, trainers, and an official from the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on our roundtable. Stay with us.
This is a special health alert for seniors suffering with joint pain. If you have Medicare insurance, you may qualify for high-quality support braces at little or no cost.
I'm thrilled with my knee braces.
Now, there is a simple and proven solution for seniors to get out of pain with state-of-the-art support braces.
I barely feel any pain at all.
Braces for your knees and back, as well as your shoulders and ankles, too.
I'm so happy with the quality of these braces.
Call now, and you could qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost.
I can play ball again, and it doesn't hurt.
And because of my Medicare coverage, it costs me next to nothing.
So call now.
And because I have this red, white, and blue Medicare card, my braces have cost me just about nothing.
It's true. You may get a knee, back, shoulder, and ankle brace at little or no cost.
They qualified me for 2 knee braces and a back brace.
If you have knee or back pain, give them a call. They can help.
1-800-476-8967. 1-800-476-8967.
You've seen me roll for 100 G's, but I got a little more than dough riding on this one. They call you Lady Luck, but there is room for doubt. At times you have a very unladylike way of running out. And so the best that I can do is pray. Luck be a lady tonight.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
I owed the IRS $20,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 1-800-565-7740. That's 1-800-565-7740.
Welcome back. So how many people are using drones, and how flexible are the government's new rules? The Federal Aviation Administration estimates there will be 2.5 million drones in use by the end of the year. The agency projects it will grow to 7 million by 2020. The biggest increase will be in commercial drones, with the number expected to quadruple in 4 years. While new rules are just going into place, there is a waiver available to work around some of the restrictions. For example, Disney World's nighttime light show, which is centered around LED lit drones, was able to get an exception. So what do you need to know about the new rules? And joining us for more on the topic is Gene Payson, Chief Pilot Trainer for Unmanned Vehicle University. He also pilots unmanned aircraft for the United States Air Force. Lionel Gilbert, Manager of Airport Operations for the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority. And joining us by Skype is Paul Aiken, Chief Pilot of Drone U. He also co-hosts the Ask Drone U podcast and is the author of Living the Drone Life. We have our own drone right here. I wanted to fly it around the studio for this, but nobody would let me do it for obvious reasons. Gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. And I guess the first thing that people should know is there are one set of rules for the hobbyists out there, or the dad who's buying the gift for the kid, and another for professionals, whether it's professional photographers or folks in TV news, right?
Exactly right, Alan.
And some people think that's a little bit unfair, that you could have a father and son or a father and daughter out there who get it for the holidays and could do whatever they want, but people in the professional world have to come under stricter rules and regulations. Why is that?
It's sort of like with a driving license as well, is that if you're driving, for fun, or you're driving as a commercial overland person, then you need to have a little bit higher standards that you have to live up to.
And Paul, here's the thing: the practical applications for these drones, if it's about from television news, flying above a news scene, or in real estate, shooting incredible video of homes that are for sale, that would be incredible applications for that. So why is that not permitted right now?
Well, some of those things are permitted. It's just how you do those actions. As a commercial operator, there are, like you said, thousands of practical applications, and real estate is just really hitting the tip of the iceberg. We have so many other real-life scenarios that we can use drones. Like, for example, crime scene mapping. Imagine if there was a crime scene and we could literally map out that whole area, get everything that we need to know right there in 15 minutes, clear the crime scene, Isn't that better for society if we're clearing traffic and making life easier for people?
Right,
Isn't it better if we're able to do search and rescue?
But when it comes to television news, for example, from my understanding, you have to file a flight plan with the FAA, which is really doesn't help you if you're trying to get to a scene of a news story that is breaking at the time.
Under Part 107, as long as you are in a specific airspace, you do not have to file a flight plan. Now, if you're near an airport within 5 miles, say, of a Class Charlie or Delta airport, yes, you would have to get an authorization, a COA, for example, to fly in that airspace. Yes, it's true the FAA is taking a long time, and they're expecting us to give them 90 days, which is really unrealistic for, just like you said, news stories and many other types of journalism, where we only have hours and sometimes days to get the shot, and we don't have 90 days to give that notice.
And Lionel, you could understand why the FAA is very cautious about this, including at the airport. Have you had any incidents there?
Yes, we have in the past couple of years, 4 incidents that were recorded. Twice a visual sighting of a drone in the area, once by a concerned citizen on the north side of the field, and another time by an airliner pilot coming in on landing at about 500 feet. So those were definitely of concerns. And then 2 other incidents where we actually found drones on the airfield. One, the owner contacted us because he said he lost contact with it. And another one, we just found it on a remote area of the field.
What kind of damage can something like this do to an aircraft that's trying to take off or land?
Well, the aircraft are designed to take some kind of damage, but mostly from animals like birds and wildlife. So they'll withstand soft tissue and things like that. We don't know exactly what a drone damage can do to an engine, stall the engine, damage the impellers, and really stall the engine on takeoff, which could be really disastrous for an airplane.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to have, we're going to have much more on drone regulations coming up, but when we return, we'll bring you a check on your local weather forecast, so stay with us.
I had cancer. I beat cancer. I kicked cancer.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
On horrendously cold nights, on days when the rain has been relentless, or when the sun is beating down, there is an animal trapped with no protection, fighting to stay alive. Time is running out for them, but you can help save them by joining the ASPCA today. With your donation of just $18 a month, you'll help rescue abused and neglected animals, provide them with food, shelter, and medical care. When you go online or call in the next 10 minutes, we'll send you this free membership kit and our limited edition 150th anniversary t-shirt. It's just 60 cents a day to pull animals out of a terrible life. Don't let them suffer another day. Please help now.
Our roundtable discussion continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on the forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
And this December 1st marks the end of the hurricane season, the official end of the hurricane season for 2016. And although it was fairly quiet, we had a large number of storms, but all these were kind of weak throughout the first part of the season. It was the latter half that did most of the damage. Hermine, however, did cause some significant damage to the panhandle of Florida, even here along the west coast of Florida. Hermine, by the way, also the first hurricane in over a decade to hit Florida. So it's been a big drought. And then Matthew being the largest storm, that having a huge impact on the east coast of Florida. Could have been much worse, however, if it would have been a little bit more to the west, just 30 miles to the west, it would have caused significant damage up and down the east coast of Florida. For us today, interesting, the skies kind of sunk down to the ground as far as the clouds go. We had a lot of fog around in the late morning, early afternoon, shutting the skyway down temporarily. A beautiful sunset tonight. That fog is still hanging around. There are a few showers along the east coast and down to our south associated with a prefrontal trough. The cold front's still back here, really just over north central Florida, south of Gainesville now. And really all it is a wind shift and a drier air coming in behind it. You can see still some light rain showers. Inland counties, not much going on at all. Here's that sea fog I mentioned. It's still kind of hanging out there in the Gulf of Mexico, right near Inglewood Beach and just offshore of Venice. So it wouldn't take much for that to work its way onshore. Right now, 72 degrees and still warm. The dew point up there at 67. That dew point temperature will be falling, though, throughout the morning tomorrow once the front pushes on through. The high today was above average. The low this morning was 67. And as far as rainfall goes, no rain to report here officially. As I mentioned, there are a few light showers in progress. Temperatures pretty much in the upper 60s to low 70s across the region now. 73 at Lake Sarasota, Osprey, you're at 72. 76, a bit warmer in Northport, Port Charlotte, and in Plantation in Venice. The forecast tomorrow calls for still pretty warm. Above average temperatures, upper 70s for the most part, but it won't be as humid out there as winds will be out of the northeast behind that front. Right now, it's quiet over the southeast. The front still spilling southward right now, and that frontal boundary is not much to it in terms of clouds. A few showers out ahead of it, as I mentioned, down south near Lake Okeechobee and West Palm Beach. Around the states, temperature 48 in Boston, Buffalo at 40, and much colder over the northern plains and northern Rockies, now 20 at Rapid City. So that colder air not going to move in here until, I think, next Thursday. We have a real good chance of getting some chillier air to move in by Thursday of next week. For boaters tomorrow, a moderate chop on the bays and inland waters, seas running 2 to 4 feet, and 73-degree water temperature and 77 for the area beaches tomorrow. Low tide upcoming, and at 8:55, sunrise will be at 7:04 tomorrow. Tonight, patchy fog, low of 63 degrees, and the extended forecast is calling for, looks like basically warm temperatures over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then cool down next Thursday. Alan will be right back after this. Stick around.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on a pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
What makes America's #1 beach even better? How about seafood and music? Don't miss the Siesta Beach Seafood and Music Festival happening Saturday and Sunday, December 3rd and 4th from 10 to 6 p.m. Savor mouth-watering Florida Gulf Coast seafood dishes by top restaurants and chefs while you enjoy great live music from some of Florida's top musical groups. So grab your family and friends at the Siesta Beach Seafood and Music Festival December 3rd and 4th. For more information, visit seafoodfestivals.com.
An important message for Americans eligible for Medicare.
Are you receiving all the benefits available to you? Do you know there is money available to lower your Medicare prescription costs?
Now's the time to find the coverage that's right for you at the right price. The way to do that is to explore your options. You can spend hours doing that yourself, or you can call Health Markets and let us do the legwork for you with no cost or obligation. We'll search a variety of plans from nationally recognized companies to find the coverage that's the best fit for you at a price that fits your budget, and we'll do it at no charge to you.
Plus, you may be able to save money on prescriptions. We'll tell you if you qualify.
Why pay a penny more than you have to for an insurance policy?
Let us find you the right plan at the right price and see if you qualify to lower your prescription costs.
Put our free service to work for you at no charge.
Call the number on the screen now to make sure you're getting all the benefits you deserve. Don't wait. Call now.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing new regulations for drones from the FAA. Our guests tonight are Gene Payson, Chief Pilot Trainer for Unmanned Vehicle University, Lionel Gulbert, Manager of Operations for the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority, and joining us by Skype is Paul Aiken, Chief Pilot for Drone U. And Paul and Gene, this question is for you. Obviously, as we saw in Adam's story, these drones are flying off the store shelves right now, and there are going to be a lot of people who are already out there and will be out there by the end of this month flying around with these drones who are not as trained as you are. Are you concerned about what could happen? And I've seen a lot of pictures of accidents and the injuries that they cause.
Well, I think there's going to be some injuries and things like that, but I've been a hobbyist since I was 12 years old, and I've had my share of nicks and scrapes, and I've got my drones lost here and there along the way. But most people, I think, are pretty cognizant that they don't want to injure themselves or others, so they're pretty careful as hobbyists go.
And Paul, you know, there is a big difference between the family going out and flying these drones as a hobby. There are people out there who, let's just be blunt about it, do stupid things.
Oh yes, clearly. We see people flying over other people all the time. We see these issues, but I agree with Gene. A lot of people have been successful hobbyists for a long time. Yes, I would love to see more education and more of a step from local retailers and national retailers to offer education and training from either Gene's group or myself's group. I mean, the amount of people flying right now is astronomical, and I think there's actually there's a very close correlation between the number of actual pilots in America and the number of drones sold in America, and I think those two numbers are actually pretty close.
Lionel, here's the big question, and we did ask the FAA to be on tonight, and they would not do so. But the question is, who enforces these rules? Because the airspace is controlled by the FAA, but what's their closest local office?
Well, the closest is in Tampa, but the regional is in Atlanta.
So when you've had these incidents at the airport, who comes out to investigate?
Nobody really, because we didn't have a real accident with damage to property or persons. So we just made a report to the FAA that we had, some kind of incident. They just take the information. If there's no accident, no damage, they won't come on site.
So if there are professionals, whether they are photographers, news people, whatever, and they are violating these new rules, how likely is it that the FAA will come out itself to investigate?
Very unlikely. Again, they don't have the manpower they needed for that, so they rely tremendously on state and local law enforcement. And they did set up guidelines for them to follow on how to respond to
right.
those.
And we have this release from the FAA, which basically says in part, the agency also recognizes that state and local law enforcement are often in the best position to deter, detect, immediately investigate, and as appropriate, pursue enforcement actions to stop unauthorized or unsafe drone uses. Now, we talked to a lot of local law enforcement agencies who either really did not know that they were being asked by the FAA to do this, or frankly say, we don't have the manpower to enforce these rules.
Right, they're very, very busy, and so it's like a community effort. I mean, if somebody's doing something stupid, whether they're swinging a baseball bat or got a knife or have guns or whatever, citizens are going to call and complain to the police, and the police are going to then take action. But it's got to be up to the citizens to help, help monitor the situation.
Paul, nationally, how is law enforcement reacting to this in terms of being asked by the FAA to deal with these issues, and are there any comparisons to other issues to make?
Well, I think that the FAA is trying very hard to get the local LEOs, or local enforcement officers, to work together with pilots to limit illegal usage. So I agree with Gene again that we've got to go out there as pilots and kind of self-police. Now, this is something we haven't seen with aviation before, but I think it's something that we really need to do. And I agree again with Gene that the public needs to be aware of what's legal and what's not. And simply flying over people ever is not legal. So that's something that we can do in helping police. Now, the FAA may not come out, but I am seeing a strong surge in enforcement actions. And I've seen a couple even in the last week. People have called into the show and they've talked about it. But what the FAA is doing is normally they're giving you a phone call and they're saying, hey, the 107 is now law. You must comply with that. It's kind of like a compliance rather than an enforcement action. Now, if someone continues to cause problems, the FAA will go after people, and they have gone after companies in the past before 107 with the Section 333 exemptions. They went after Skypan, which was a $1.9 million fine.
Now, Gene, we should make it clear, if the bad activity is something like peeping through somebody's window or crashing your drone into somebody's house deliberately or doing something like that, that violates criminal law, and your local police will pursue it.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah. Lionel, what is your biggest concern in terms of these drones out there in proximity to your airport?
Our biggest concern is obviously a collision with an aircraft, either on takeoff or landing, and no matter what size of the aircraft. So, and that's where the importance of the education is there, because people like Gene that professionally train and know where to go and how to do it are not our concern. They know the rules. They're the ones, Daddy and their kids getting a Christmas gift and going to a park next to an airport and starting to fly, not realizing where they are, what the rules are, how high they really are, and get too close to an airplane and have something happen.
And we're talking about people doing stupid things, but obviously we live in a dangerous times, and you can imagine something like this or something worse than this being used in proximity to a commercial airport.
Absolutely. There could be definitely a terrorist activity linked to that.
What's your defense? I mean, how do you defend against this? Because airports, have to be open in terms of the airspace to get to and from them.
At this point, the only thing we can do is just try to respond to the site and find the operator and see what's going on. And that's where the law enforcement gets involved, because outside our fence, it's not our jurisdiction. And then that gets reported to the FAA. Again, the FAA is working on testing different technologies to detect drones, even some to disable drones, but we're not there yet.
And Gene and Paul, where is this going? Because obviously, even though there are stricter rules on commercial operators that are not, with Amazon, for instance, thought about deliveries by drone. That seems to be off the boards right now. Are we going to get to a time where the commercial use of this technology is more available?
I see an explosion in this pretty soon. They're going to put on different identifiers on these drones so they can be tracked. There'll be flight levels, and Amazon will be able to fly between 500 and 512 feet, and they'll have different companies at different levels, and they'll have this all synchronized, just like they do with manned aviation. It's all synchronized and harmonized, and everything works beautifully right now, and it'll be the same with drones.
And Paul, even right now, I mean, there have been some people, some hobbyists that have kind of been pushed out of the drone hobby, because I know professional photographers who are, lawyers who help out fire departments and so forth. They say that these new rules are so cumbersome that it's really not even worth the effort to fly.
Well, it depends on who you are and if you know about airspace and sectionals, and you can read a sectional map and know where you can and can't fly. That's really the point of that test. The FAA wants to know, do you know where you can fly and where you can't fly? And to go back to one of your statements about drones and airports, recently, just in Denver, about 6 hours north of where I am, they've been testing a drone fence, which does inhibit the drone from going by the airport and actually makes the drone land so they can learn where the operator is. The drone's home point is where the operator took the drone off. So when this drone fence works, the drone goes back to that home point where the operator is. It's a great way to know who was flying the drone and really deter activity. Now, the rules are cumbersome in the sense that the FAA is still kind of working out the kinks. This is so new for them to really input these new rules and get the systems in motion. Frankly, they did a beautiful job in getting the licensing done. And now we're seeing them work into a system where we're getting airspace clearances. Right now, it's just not happening. If you look at the number of clearances that have been approved versus how many people have applied, it's astronomical how many or how little, it's less than 1%, have actually been approved. So the FAA needs to come up with a system so that pilots can call in and say, hey, look, I've got to fly in Class Delta airspace 3 miles out, and I'm only going up to 150 feet.
We have to take I'm sorry, we're going to have final thoughts in a moment, but we have to take a quick break right now from our guests, and we're going to come back in a moment. Plus, what some of you were saying about another type of regulation, so stay with us.
Every week on Animal Outtakes, it's a new adventure.
From meeting curious lemurs to feeding big cats and hosing down rhinos, there's never a dull moment. And sometimes these amazing animals chime in. Tune in to Animal Outtakes to find out what they have to say.
Watch Animal Outtakes every week on ABC7.
The all-new mysuncoast.com. Just another way we're here for you.
Using baby powder or talc may lead to ovarian cancer. $72 million was awarded in a recent talc lawsuit after lawyers found secret internal documents showing that the baby powder manufacturer knew about the link between talcum powder and ovarian cancer for decades, but never told the public. If you were diagnosed with ovarian cancer after using talcum powder on a regular basis, you may qualify for a cash award. Call 800-793-6621. 800-793-6621.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on the pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. And services.com, A-N-D, services.com.
Welcome back. The number of commercial drones is expected to quadruple in just the next 4 years. Will regulations be able to handle the influx? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And Paul, the number of these drones out there are growing so much, but there are also people out there who are getting them for the holidays. What would you say to people who are going to take these home for the holidays about the need to be safe out there?
If you do end up getting a drone for a loved one or someone in your family, make sure you also get them some sort of education, whether that's through the Drone U or through any other school. I think it's so imperative that they become educated. Also, I'd love to see the FAA also open up the door to people who do know how to fly. But the only way we're going to progress this industry is through education.
All right, and Gene, what would you say to the people out there who may be concerned about all these things buzzing around their neighborhoods?
Well, I say they better get used to it because there's going to be a lot more use of these over the next 5 years. There's all kinds of commercial applications, and they're going to be out there a lot. But they're not going to be snooping in on people. They're out there for commercial reasons.
But there are also a lot of people who are taking them back to their neighborhoods and may or may not know what they're doing.
That's true, yeah. But so those people who are hobbyists, I mean, it's a totally different league there. Those people have to know, and as Paul said, you gotta teach them some rules.
And Lionel, what would you say to people who are flying in and out of our airport who may be legitimately concerned about whether these things are going to be in the way of their planes taking off for landing?
Oh, I wouldn't be too concerned. I think when Gene mentioned that they're going to be around by that time, I think the FAA will have the rules well in place, and they'll keep adequate separation between airplanes and airport and the airspace.
Right.
So we'll have to share it.
These are incredible devices, but I guess the rules have to catch up with the technology.
Mm-hmm. or just the knowledge of the customers. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about a much different type of regulation. Sarasota County is relaxing laws on food trucks. They can now roam freely around commercial and unincorporated parts of the county. Some businesses worry it could cut into their business. Here is what some of you are saying. David Lau writes, food trucks are a win-win for everyone. In a subtle way, they add an energy for our city. I believe all restaurants will win when more of an eat-out culture grows. Susan McLash writes, they need to have parameters away from restaurants paying rent inside building. All restaurants need the same rules for cleanliness as well. And Nancy Nyberg writes, just like a restaurant, my concern is cleanliness and by abiding the rules when it comes to food storage. The rest of the politics is really not any of my concern. If you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks for everyone for being here tonight. Gene Payson is Chief Pilot Trainer at Unmanned Vehicle University. He is also the Chief Pilot for Troy Built Models. Lionel Gilbert is the Manager of Operations for the Sarasota Manatee Airport Authority. And Paul Aiken is the Chief Pilot of Drone U. He also co-hosts the Ask Drone U podcast and is the author of Living the Drone Life. There we go. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weather, plus a tense and terrifying morning in Jacksonville after nearly a dozen people are taken hostage in a bank robbery. We'll have the details in our primetime headlines.
Attention breast cancer survivors. If you experience permanent hair loss or baldness after chemotherapy, you may qualify for a cash award. Thousands of women suffering breast cancer were given a chemotherapy drug without being warned about the possibility of irreversible alopecia. If you or a loved one suffered permanent hair loss after chemotherapy, call 888-622-8732. Time to file a claim is limited. 888-622-8732. That's 888-622-8732.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help.
And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in just a moment, but right now let's get a final check on your weather from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A beautiful sunset tonight. The fog kind of moved out, at least near Sarasota Bay, near the Ringling Bridge, causing a nice sunset to occur. And we've got a little bit of rainfall on the East Coast mainly. We had a few showers inland. There's still some lingering well east of I-75, but currently at the airport it's 72, still pretty warm. Dew point at 67 degrees, which is high for this time of year, but this number will be falling tonight. It will be falling after the front moves on through, especially tomorrow. The pressure 30 inches even. It's actually been rising a little bit. The high today was above average, 78 despite the fog and the low clouds that were around today. The morning low was very warm at 67 degrees. Temperatures already starting to fall behind the front in the 50s in Pensacola, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville. Out ahead of it, still warm, 78 now in Miami, 77 in Key West, and around town. Temperatures in the lower 70s from Cortez, Sarasota, all the way down to Inglewood. 76 now in Arcadia, 74 in Sebring, and the Gulf temperature at 73 over the southeast. all is fairly quiet right now. That weak frontal boundary continues to sink very slowly to the south. Behind it, slightly cooler, slightly drier air. It's still, though, temperatures will be above average tomorrow, with highs still reaching into the upper 70s. You can see that rainfall I mentioned along the east coast and down to our south near Avon Park. There's some showers nearby, also Sebring. Temperatures 40s now in Detroit and Toronto and Cleveland, 38 in Chicago, 37 in Minneapolis, 28 though in Minot, North Dakota. These temperatures are extremely cold now, but expected to get much colder next week as an Arctic air mass is expected to spill southward, and it may have an impact on our weather Thursday of next week. Not so much over the upcoming weekends. The forecast calls for that front to move on through, and then behind it, pretty nice day tomorrow and through Saturday. For the parade, Saturday night in Sarasota looks good. Venice Boat Parade looks good, and things looking pretty good all weekend long, really. And then a storm system will stay well to our north through Monday. Tuesday, things start to change a bit. Northeast winds for boaters, 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be 2 to 4 feet with a moderate chop in the bays and inland waters. The water temperature now at 73 degrees. And as far as the upcoming tides go, the next high tide will again be after midnight. And then we are expecting, there it is, high tide at 12:21 and another high tide at 3:18. The forecast for the next 7 days looks like this. We'll see a chance for showers come into play, but not until after the weekend is over. Best chance next week will be at 40% on Tuesday. Much cooler air moves in on Thursday of next week. Alan will be back with primetime headlines coming up right after this.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
Call right now to get your free Senior Care Compass ebook. Find out about the 5 best-kept secrets on financing senior care and assisted living.
Call now, 800-290-0352. 800-290-0352.
Whether you're a homeowner looking for a professional installation or a contractor looking for top quality products, Sarasota Glass and Mirror can meet your every need.
For 42 years, Sarasota Glass and Mirror has been the area's premier supplier and installer of quality glass products for your home or business. As an authorized PGT WinGuard dealer, we know how to protect your home with everything from the PGT WinGuard impact-resistant windows and doors to shower enclosures and decorative mirrors. The Sarasota Glass and Mirror team has the knowledge to tackle any project.
This is a special health alert for seniors suffering with joint pain. If you have Medicare insurance, you may qualify for high-quality support braces at little or no cost.
I'm thrilled with my knee braces.
Now, there is a simple and proven solution for seniors to get out of pain with state-of-the-art support braces.
I barely feel any pain at all.
Braces for your knees and back, as well as your shoulders and ankles, too.
I'm so happy with the quality of these braces.
Call now, and you could qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost.
I can play ball again, and it doesn't hurt.
And because of my Medicare coverage, it costs me next to nothing.
So call now.
And because I have this red, white, and blue Medicare card, my braces have cost me just about nothing.
It's true. You may get a knee, back, shoulder, and ankle brace at little or no cost.
They qualified me for 2 knee braces and a back brace.
If you have knee or back pain, give them a call. They can help.
1-800-476-8967. 1-800-476-8967.
Now a look at your primetime headlines. President-elect Donald Trump is hitting the road for what he is calling a thank you tour. This comes on the same day as a vote recount is getting underway in Wisconsin. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the latest.
Donald Trump on the road again in Indiana. The president-elect praised the deal he struck with Carrier Air Conditioning to save 1,000 factory jobs bound for Mexico.
These companies aren't going to be leaving anywhere. They're not going to be taking people's hearts out.
Carrier says the state where VP-elect Mike Pence is still the governor offered its multi-billion-dollar parent company a $7 million incentive package over several years.
Even before taking office, our president-elect provided real leadership that made the difference.
Trump's deal is now under scrutiny by critics in Washington who are demanding to know all the details. Senator Bernie Sanders wrote in the Washington Post, Trump has endangered the jobs of all workers. He has signaled to corporations that they can threaten to offshore jobs in exchange for business-friendly tax benefits and incentives. House Speaker Paul Ryan came to the incoming president's aid.
We are killing jobs and competitiveness in America because of our tax code. Tax reform is central to fixing this problem.
Trump's first leg of his thank you tour, Ohio, a battleground state that gave him a decisive victory. But in Wisconsin, where Trump won by less than a percentage point, a recount is underway, initiated by Green Party leader Jill Stein. Trump's thank you tour will continue over the next few weeks, and it will include crucial states he won and those he thought he would have done better in. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
President Obama is preparing for his own trip. He'll visit MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa on Tuesday to deliver his final speech on counterterrorism strategy. Since taking office, the president has increased the U.S. reliance on special forces to address extremist threats with a limited U.S. footprint. It will also be the president's final opportunity to elaborate on the reforms he has implemented. Enrollment in Obama's Affordable Health Care Act continues to rise. 515,000 Floridians have signed up since enrollment began at the start of November. Our state makes up about a quarter of new signups nationwide. Health officials say if you want coverage at the start of the new year, you should be enrolled by December 15th. Now to Jacksonville, where a man is in custody after a bank robbery turned into a 2-hour-long hostage situation. Authorities say 23-year-old Nicholas Humphrey threatened the lives of 11 hostages inside a credit union. SWAT teams responded. They were able to move in when 2 people hiding inside tried to flee.
When they did that, it distracted the hostage taker. And at that point, the SWAT team took that opportunity to make entry into the bank, placed themselves between the hostage taker and the hostages, in essence rescuing those hostages.
Police say the victims were shaken, but no shots were fired and no one was injured. Thousands of law enforcement officers across Florida may soon be getting a pay raise. Governor Rick Scott wants troopers with the Highway Patrol, wildlife officers, and state law enforcement agents to get a 5% pay raise next year. Scott says the nearly 4,000 officers deserve it for their responses to 2 hurricanes and the Pulse nightclub shooting over the past year. The $11.7 million request will be included in the governor's budget recommendation next year. They don't call us the Sunshine State for nothing. The largest solar panel installer in the U.S. is moving to the Florida market. Solar City, a subsidiary of the Tesla Motors, is announcing an opening of an operations center in Clearmont near Orlando, and the plan is to spread into areas across Florida. The operations center is expected to employ around 100 people to install solar systems for homeowners while also maintaining and repairing them. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.